And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to be talking about the story of your girl, Ilhan Omar. She is currently under investigation, according to Tom Homan, y'all. She is under investigation for potentially marrying her brother. And why would she want to marry her own brother? That's not cool, is it? I don't think anywhere in the world that's cool. Well, the allegation goes that it had something to do with immigration fraud. Now, I want y'all to listen, okay? We're going to listen to two brief stories about this. We're going to listen to Tom Homan and the host from Newsmax talk about it. And then I'm going to show you a clip from years ago from Tucker Carlson. I want you to listen very closely and see if you can tell what the difference is between those two. Between the two different versions of events. Okay, that's a hint. And then at the end of this video or near the end, I'm going to tell you the difference. I'm going to see if you got it right. And I'm also going to tell you the potential implication for your girl, whether it be this or whether it be that. So you're going to have to put on your super listening and your thinking cap for this one, y'all. So I'm not going to do a big long lead in. First, we're going to go ahead and go with the Newsmax clip. We'll come back with the Tucker clip, which was from a few years ago where he talked about the same thing. And then I'm going to tell you the implications of both. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do, y'all, we are launching our official Patreon. So if you want to be a founding member on our Patreon, we have just 222 slots, y'all. If you want to be a founding member, go down, click the very first link in the description, and you're going to feel good about this, y'all, because believe it or not, we are an actual paralegal school, and we help people get their paralegal certificate and get working in the paralegal field. And all of the proceeds from our Patreon, when you enroll as a founding member, all of that is going to go to scholarships for people who would like to study at our institute, y'all. So click that first link down in the description. Join us as a founding member, y'all. This deal will not come back. Now let's get into the story.
The border czar, Tom Homan, joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says that, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
Okay, so there you have Tom Homan saying that they are investigating Ilhan Omar for potentially having married her brother for immigration purposes, y'all. So as I said in the lead up, y'all, that was the Newsmax clip. Now let's listen to Tucker. So this is nothing new. People have been telling me this in my videos about Ilhan Omar for a long time. They're like, she married her brother. Okay, let's listen to, this is just going to be a quick 1-minute clip about when Tucker Carlson talked about this several years ago. Now take a listen.
So it's been known for quite a while that Ilhan Omar apparently married her own brother to help him gain entry illegally into the country. That's a violation of immigration law. That actually happened, it turns out. And now we're learning the FBI had evidence to confirm it, but didn't do anything about it. Randa Devine is an actual journalist. She works at the New York Post, where she writes a column. She joins us tonight to explain what exactly happened. Randa, thanks so much for coming on.
Pleasure, Tucker. Well, some basically Republican operatives up in Minnesota decided to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on private investigators to really find out if Ilhan Omar was a genetic match, the DNA match, to the man who was her second husband. They went to 3 continents. They found a cigarette butt and a drinking straw, which they decided, they sent it to a DNA laboratory and found conclusively that the DNA matched, that the second husband was a sibling, according to this DNA sample.
Now, did you notice the difference between the 2 versions of events? In case you did or you didn't, I'm going to tell you. The more recent allegation is that Omar married her brother so that she herself could come to the United States. Okay, that's what Trump has been saying recently. He's been saying, I heard she married her brother so that she could get into the United States. But Tucker said that she married her brother so that he could come to the United States. Now, there's a big difference there, y'all. In the first version of events, which was from Tucker several years ago, Ilhan's already in the United States. She wants her brother to be able to come over. And what better way than to a good old matrimony? They get married and then she applies for him to come as her spouse. Okay, so in that version of events that Tucker said, she's already in the States. She already has access to the United States. In the newer version, and I think that perhaps people just got the details mixed up. In the newer version, it sounds like he's already in the States and he's marrying her so that she can come over from Somalia. That's almost certainly wrong because Ilhan came to the United States as an adolescent, as a girl. She didn't come to the United States as a woman. So the version of events that would be under investigation would not be that she married him so that she herself could leave Somalia. She was already in the United States from 12 years old, y'all, according to news reports. So it's almost certain that she didn't marry him for her to come into the States. Now that's going to be a big difference because people want her to be denaturalized and stripped of her, not only U.S. citizenship, but also her congressional seat. But you have to think about it. If she was already in the United States and was already a citizen, she came in under some kind of refugee program or something like that when she was 12. She was already a citizen. She then later married her brother so that he could come over. It's going to be harder to strip her of her citizenship for that. That's immigration fraud, but that immigration fraud would not have been tied to her own status. In other words, she didn't gain her status through the fraud. So if he had already been in the States and he brought her over through fraud, then you can say, hey, you only have this status because of the fraud. But that's not what happened. What the allegation is that she came over as a 12-year-old in some kind of refugee program or something like that. She became a citizen. And then as an adult later, she married him in immigration fraud. So that would really jeopardize his status as a resident or as a citizen more so than hers. So we're going to have to see how these things twist and turn. I'm just explaining the law to you. I'm certainly not predicting the future. We can certainly see what types of theories lawyers come up with if they are able to prove that she engaged in immigration fraud with her brother. Hopefully y'all understand all of that. Let's get a discussion about that down in the comments. And as we continue, y'all, let's look at some of the additional comments that Tom Homan made about the Somali immigrant community.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down and we're going to deep dive all of this. And we're going to hold people accountable. So yes, There are going to be multiple deportations coming, absolutely.
There's so many claims of a racist element to this story, and when we're talking about a certain subsection of refugees into this country, but it bears reminding to people that it wasn't very long ago at all that Americans expected that people that came to our country would contribute to the cause, would assimilate to our culture and to who we are. And we're just not seeing that at all in this community. We're seeing a community that's largely hostile to our culture, wants to bring in an Islamic culture into our nation, while doing so and staying vastly on the dole, on some kind of assistance, taking more than they contribute. Knowing all of that, here's Ilhan Omar on our immigration system under this president and the job that you're doing.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
What's your reaction to that?
Unlike the Biden administration, we're following the Constitution. We're enforcing the law. We're not ignoring the law. And you're right. The proper, assimilation is important, and it's going to be required. Not only that, when they come here on a legal program, they're required to be self-sufficient. They have to prove they're self-sufficient. So a lot of them, first thing they're doing to get here is get on the public dole.
So y'all, hopefully you have learned something today. The Minnesota Somali community is still under scrutiny. And that's not the only Somali community. There's also one in Maine. And I know in Northern Virginia and in the Washington, D.C. area, there's another Somali community. So they're probably all feeling the heat today, y'all. So let me know. Drop a comment down below. Again, I'm pretty sure that the details that she married her brother in order for her to come to the States, that's just people having gotten mixed up. OK, the allegation is she married him as she was already in the States since basically a preteen, and she had already attained her citizenship, and she married him so that he could come over to the United States. Y'all, let me know what you think about all this. Do you agree with my assessment? Do you disagree? Drop a comment down below. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.